Morning, gang. It's Wednesday, 11:02 a.m. Let me get my clock thing up here. This thing's so cool. I love this. 11:02 a.m. here on the East Coast. 8:02 on the left coast. Is it coming? Is it coming? What the hell is that? There we go. 2:02 in Sydney and Melbourne, Thursday morning. 11:02 p.m. Wednesday night in Perth. 16:02 in Berlin. 3:02 p.m. in London. And like I said, it's 11:02 here in the Mastiff.Media studios. How do I take that off? There we go. It's Wednesday, time for Translating Trump. And boy, does this guy have some questions to answer. Let's bring him out, pan down the rest of the music, get rid of that, and bring in our resident Trump translator, Philip Blackett. Good morning. Good evening, depending on where you're listening.
Well, good morning to you, sir.
I told you, but you know we're on in Australia now, and also the UK a little bit more frequently. Okay. Yeah, that's why we cover all the bases with the times.
Of course. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night.
Apparently, the other day we were on in the UK, even though we're only supposed to be live there on Fridays. We managed to get on the air one of the other days, and I didn't realize it. And we might have covered somebody else's show, which is bad, but that was a total accident. For those of you maybe still listening in the UK, if you missed somebody else's program, my apologies. But wow, I mean, seriously, and I know you are no fan of Joe Biden, and for once, he's not going to have anything to do with today's episode. So there's no scapegoat here.
I mean, outside of you including them in the show notes now, from you reference it now, it's now in the transcript.
Yeah. But I mean, point being, you're a pretty dedicated fan to Trump 2.0. But I mean, seriously, even you've got to be shaking your head at this one. Elon Musk with Teslas on the White House lawn, and the president of the United States is helping to sell Teslas. Tell me how that's okay.
So, first off, I think that Trump is going after America first, right? That's definitely consistent theme-wise. So he wants American companies to thrive. Tesla is an American company, a car company. It's also the same American car company as I think it was Ford, GM, and Stellantis. I think Trump did some sort of deal regarding tariffs to help them out too. So it sounds consistent to me. If you're supporting,
he didn't have any Corvettes on the White House lawn.
Okay, but we didn't have the owner or the CEO of Corvette supporting Trump to the way that Musk did during the election season either.
Exactly. Tell me how this is not a conflict of interest. A government official using government property to push one car maker.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Secret Service, okay? Which car maker was you and your comrades and the people you were protecting in when you were transporting from one place to another securely?
It depends on the detail.
Okay, so which ones do you normally go with?
Well, Hillary Clinton had a Lincoln Town Car.
Okay.
The Beast is made by Cadillac. It's made by General Motors. All I can say is that the only two original parts of a Cadillac that eventually becomes the Beast that is not altered in any way
Okay.
is the front Cadillac emblem on the grill
Oh wow, that's it.
and the rear Cadillac emblem on the trunk.
That's good.
So let's not say that General Motors really makes the beast because they don't.
Well, they do supply the car, right? They may get their components from elsewhere, but they do help assemble it. So, wouldn't that still be a subtle endorsement of Lincoln and
No,
Cadillac by its
no,
usage by our government?
no, because to make the beast, to make the Marine One,
Mm-hmm.
to make Air Force One,
And that's Bowen, right?
currently, yes.
Okay.
And Sikorsky makes the um, makes I forget what the actual letters are called. The model number of that helicopter,
Okay.
the VIP transport type of helicopter,
Mm-hmm.
meaning that it's the troop transport that's altered for VIPs. Um, to get those, you have to already have another government contract.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just come in off the street because what that does, it gives the government, for somebody making the wheels or the wings for the president of the United States,
Mm-hmm.
it gives the government a head start of sorts into a security clearance of that company.
Mm-hmm.
So if you already have a government contract, like Boeing does, like General Motors does,
Mm-hmm.
then it's a better sign that they're going to be a good contractor to make this very special line of vehicles.
Could Tesla be a future
No,
government contractor here?
no, not for that because it would take way too long to get the first contract.
Oh,
Unless, of course, the owner of the company is part of the quote unquote part of the Trump administration.
no way to expedite the timing at all.
There is when you're so far up Trump's ass, you make him look like a cockroach. I think that's expedition enough. But you would have to have, and well, I mean, to be fair, Tesla does not, but SpaceX does.
Okay.
And I'm sure that would be a workaround somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, we used to use Fords for the
Mm-hmm.
presidential. Kennedy was shot in a
Right.
Lincoln Continental.
Mm-hmm.
Um, instead of Chevy Suburbans, the follow-up car used to be a station wagon.
Oh.
There's video of a car accident that the motorcade got into during, I think, the Ford administration. We, the Secret Service motorcade, ran a stop sign,
Mm.
which we were authorized to do,
Okay.
but it wasn't blocked by our local police counterparts. The
Okay.
intersection was not blocked by our local police counterparts like it was supposed to be. And we took advantage or took a presumption that, quiet country road, what could happen? Boom, crash.
Yeah.
That was a station wagon. That was not a Chevy Suburban. I believe one of the reasons why we switched to a Chevy Suburban is that they're much more tank-like than a more simple station wagon and a lower to the ground station wagon. Also, I think they're easier to climb in and out of than a sitting sedan station wagon versus more of a truck-like Chevy Suburban. Even
Mm-hmm.
though technically, back when you still had to get a truck license for like your pickup truck, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to everybody just most departments of transportation just require a basic automobile license, license plate registration. The Chevy Suburban was and still is technically a station wagon. That is really, I guess, the only station wagon we've ever seen anymore. They don't make the old school family wagon. Roll them up, Chevy Chase when he was in the rough part of Detroit, I think it was, or St. Louis. Roll them up. But I see what you're saying, that we use multiple.
Yeah, all I'm saying is like, listen, I guess the showmanship, the display, Tesla's on the lawn, I get it. Some people can like it, some people don't. There is still a subtle, hey, listen, the government uses American companies and non-American companies to fulfill what they do on a day-to-day basis. To your point, it may be Chevys, Fords, Lincolns, maybe even Teslas, SpaceX, and that sort. I don't necessarily have an issue with it, but maybe the presentation or how it comes off or the narrative behind it, I can see why
Especially
it might
now,
raise some eyebrows in particular because of the close
especially now
relationship.
when Wall Street, which was at all-time highs 6 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
is tanking hard.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the middle of a trade war.
Mm-hmm. And that
We're
that
in the
makes
middle.
sense too, because like you think about it, like the tariffs, like I even saw the Goldman Sachs report. I used to work there, so I could get where they're
Yeah.
coming from. There, it's like the stock market is based off of expectations. Ultimately, if you think the companies are going to have a good year, the stock price is going to go up when it comes to them reporting how well they did. If you don't, you revisit your expectations. You lower your expectations, which means your prices are probably going to go down. You're not going to do as good as the year because these tariffs potentially stock price comes down. I get it.
Yeah. And I mean, it's that's a bad time. I still say that we're already into World War III. It's not as bad as what it could be, nor is it as bad as what I think it's going to get,
Mm-hmm.
because I doubt that what's his nuts Putin is going to be remotely happy with this deal.
The ceasefire.
Yeah, and that's actually our next. Oh, I didn't start my timers here. Give me a second.
Uh-oh. So that mean we're gonna hear it on the air?
No, no, I think I actually turned them all off. But yeah, I think I actually turned them all off. So we shouldn't. There was another one that I had. That one did. Oh, but I think I turned that one off too. But then the upside to that, or actually downside to that, is I'm not paying attention, and I don't see when the little orange bubble is no longer orange because it's expired, and I miss giving things like plugs at the end of the hour, or the commercial break that I need to take right now, things of that nature. All right, gang. So if you are tuning in early, because in a little less than 2 hours, you're going to be listening to Sportcat and his daily Gazette. He is on leave today. I will be in for him for part of that. And then we're going to be playing part of yesterday's episode to fill in the rest of today's time. But he's away today. I'll be substituting for him at, let's see, let me get my handy dandy time thingy out. It's going to be 1 p.m. this afternoon Eastern, 10 a.m. in Las Vegas and the West Coast, 5 p.m. in London, 1800 in Berlin, 1 a.m. in Perth, and 4 a.m. in Sydney and Melbourne. So stay tuned for that in a little under 2 hours. Till then, we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. And when we do, we're going to figure out, what the president can do in my driveway, because I've already had a governor here that has done squat. So maybe we can get the president here and get something done.
Maybe it might be better if we have a new governor. I don't know. Maybe if Donalds comes in and helps out. I don't know. That's just a thought.
Yeah, that's. But I want your opinion on something else too. I was reading on Quora, and I'm questionable of the things I pick off of Quora.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you that don't know, Quora, Quora,
Oh, okay.
is an
Mm-hmm.
app and a platform that you can get that experts of various fields create profiles for. And when you tag that industry or that subject matter, that person gets an alert that you have a question about this issue, whatever it may be. that doesn't mean that an actual expert is going to be the one that replies.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody may just fancy themselves, like Blake, a political science junkie, an expert. It just proves that they don't listen, because I give shots like this at them all the time when they're not on with me, and they never say anything. They have no idea. It's like picking on the Amish. They don't have a radio, so who's going to know? But yeah, it doesn't mean that you're actually going to get a real expert replying. Just that it's a possibility.
But hey, the one-eyed man can still lead the blind here. So hey,
oh yeah,
being able to see partially is still better than no vision at all.
So this guy, I forget what the exact question was. So I'm going to paraphrase it badly, but the point is the answer. Question was something about Trump, how bad he is, how awful this is going, blah, 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 whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the political scientist, historian, journalist, whoever the guy was, replies with, he doesn't even think that Trump is going to finish this term. Now, he's not suggesting anything like what's happened already, like assassination or anything like that. He's just thinking he has such shiny object syndrome that he's going to bow out before he finishes.
Before 4 years.
When we come back, we're going to get Philip's reply to that.
Sure.
You're listening to Up the Middle or watching Up the Middle on the Mastiff.Media Network, Radio X in Australia, 1400 AM and 1071 KSHP in Las Vegas, and the rest of the Mastiff.Media Network. We'll be back after this.
What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym, but not just any gym. Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is amazing. It's kept up well. It's expanded. There's stretching area. There's CrossFit. There's hardcore training. A dedicated area for stretching, dunk tanks, sauna, everything you need to get that Hernando beach body or keep your Clearwater beach body. You can train with your shirt off, you can scream, you can yell, and you won't be intimidated either. Go to Momentum Fitness and Wellness on US 19 in Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. Build the momentum.
Hi, we're back. Rumble. I got to put my sexy background music on. I've been starting this at the beginning of the show, and I just mute it when I don't. Yeah, it comes up so much. My mom hates this music. She says it's just so repetitive and boring. I'm like, that's what it's supposed to be. It's just supposed to be background. This is modern day elevator music. So here we are, two gray-haired old men listening to elevator music on a radio show. How cool are we not?
Please hold.
Yeah, exactly. Rumble. We are fair and balanced here, unlike some networks who say they are. We are actually approaching everything from both sides of the political spectrum. So not only are we on YouTube, but we are also on Rumble. If you're a content creator, you can be on Rumble too. Go to rumble.com/register/Yergz Media. Remember, Yergz Media is what we used to be before Mastiff.Media came along. We rebranded. I didn't want my name on everything. I'm not Donald Trump. But we could not change our username there, our account with Rumble. So go to rumble.com/register/Yergz Media and get your Rumble account. Or maybe you're right wing, and that's all. That's your people. Go ahead, get there, but send us some love by using that link when you register for an advanced or paid or whatever they call it, professional account. Rumble.com. All right. So before the break, we were talking about how. Oh, now I screwed it up. I got to put this chill music back on for the next break. Oh, they changed it. Now it's a different one. All right. I feel like Howard Stern just like playing with stupid stuff that I'm not really paying attention to my own show.
Well, listen, there's a lot of worse things you can do if you're trying to be Howard Stern on the air. So I'm fine with this.
But see I didn't want that. I think one of my neighbors first called me that when I first started the political podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he asked if I was going to be like the Howard Stern of politics. I'm like, hey, I like that. I'll be the king of all political media. Someday.
You did raise a funny point. You said, well, I don't want my name on everything. I was like, Yergz, okay. Yergz Hotel, Yergz Casino, Yergz Steaks.
And I was like, was back in the day.
And the funny thing was, I thought to myself, could I do the same thing? And I was like, that probably wouldn't go well because you have Yergz Hotel. And so my last name is Blackett. And if you said it in a way you didn't really pay attention to it, what do you think Blackett actually sounds like if you weren't really paying attention?
F it?
No.
Or just black?
No. So when I was in high school, real quick, I was at an all boys school, and we used to call each other by our last names. So clearly my name is Philip, last name Blackett.
Right.
I'm one of two blacks in my high school class, right?
Okay.
So we were in the hallway, and one of my classmates saw me, wanted to get my attention. So he yelled out, "Hey, Blackett." But what it sounded like to the principal was, "Hey, black kid."
Oh.
So I had to help get him out of trouble. But then my thought was what you just said. Is like, look, if we had a bunch of like Blackett Steaks, Blackett Hotel, Blackett Casinos, I could see somebody being like, "Are you going to the Blackett Casino again?"
You need to play with that. You need to run with that. Your mascot's this little black kid that's like waving friendly, just a friendly smile. The Black Kid Hotel. All the black kids go. Although you get like Diddy and Puff Daddy.
No, I don't want that.
You're getting all the cool kids showing up.
Is he still in prison, dude?
I guess.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Diddy, you know who his roommate is? His cellmate?
No.
Sam Bankman-Fried.
That is funny.
Yeah, they're roommates.
That gives me vibes of the what was that movie that Diddy did with what was it? Josh, he was a real fat actor. But he slimmed down. It was like Get Him to the what was that movie? Get Him to the
fat actor that slimmed down.
So he was
Seth Galifianakis is slimmer now.
What's his name? He's been on like I think it was like Moneyball, Pineapple.
I know who you mean. Yeah.
Pineapple Express, maybe Super Bad or something like that.
I know who you mean. I don't know what his name is, but he's like a younger Seth Rogen.
Right. Yeah. So I'm thinking like that's kind of what's going on there in that cell now. It's just So and he's like, "Oh gosh, I'll just take myself out. Don't keep me here."
It just came the interview with Bankman-Fried I just saw last week, and it just came off like he was forced to do a press opportunity, a press avail for Diddy. He really had nothing else to say other than Diddy was a cool roommate. So like I guess like the prosecutors are supposed to see that and the victims' families.
Good behavior.
That's supposed to be like the one shred of possible reasonable doubt that for what he's being accused of with like the trafficking and whatever else.
Well, I'm sure it's safe when you don't have baby oil in the cell this time. Maybe you can actually go to sleep with both eyes closed.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, that I guess apparently they're not frequently, if ever, in the actual general population
I wouldn't be in the general
of the prison.
population either.
Yeah, yeah,
Diddy, I got a mixtape for you. Let me spit it to you real quick.
yeah. You're really.
I want to make the band too.
What were we coming back to talk about?
Quora
Oh yeah.
not finishing full term for Trump, right?
So yeah, and it actually made sense. He
Why
gets
would you
thrown
leave the
out.
president just all of a sudden? Where would you go to? I'm listening.
I don't know
This is
that
my
it would be
initial
all
thought.
of a sudden. I see this Gaza thing maybe coming to fruition,
Mm-hmm.
and he wants to oversee the construction of that.
Mm-hmm.
And he and what's the nickname? Bibi.
Mm-hmm.
What's Netanyahu's nickname?
Oh, I don't know that one. I
Uh,
just know Little Marco.
no, Bobo or not? No, that's Bobert. Um,
Not Bobo again.
he's got some name like that that apparently I don't know if they actually use it to his face, like his colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
BB, that's it. I think it's BB.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but they're going to like have their ultra rich Riviera of sorts in the
Mm-hmm.
Gaza Strip, and he leaves and turns things over to JD Vance. Which, speaking of which, I need to actually read this thing that I pulled off another journalist's website, who, because of the nature of it, he was taking it down the next day. If you
Mm-hmm.
saw it, if you got it, God love you. If not, sucks to be you. Something called the PayPal Mafia.
Okay.
And it's about Elon Musk and his rise to power and JD Vance and his rise to power.
Mm-hmm.
And it details how this whole current arrangement was planned years ago.
Okay.
So when we talk about getting rid of the deep state,
Mm-hmm.
this provides a perfect place to start. And I'm going to actually include portions of that in the white paper about, I haven't officially titled it yet, but essentially my Fourth Reich white paper, where it started just me comparing Trump to Hitler. And as it grew, I saw all the other comparisons.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this isn't just Trump to Hitler. This is Trump administration to the Third Reich.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been affectionately calling Trump 2.0 the Fourth Reich, because now some of the other things I see, like he just, well, I mean, let me let you answer the first one first, and then we'll go into another one. But obviously, I doubt that you agree or see it happening. But what are your thoughts about him perhaps not finishing this second term? Voluntarily, by the way.
You remember when it was clear that Joe Biden? See, I'm gonna bring Joe Biden this episode. Damn it!
We got
I'm
Sleepy Uncle Joe coming back.
I'm gonna bring Sleepy Joe on this episode. Damn it!
Crazy Uncle Joe coming back for a cameo.
Do you remember when there was talk about when he clearly was not going to run in the re-election against Trump for whatever reasons? We'll just put that aside, right? And
But there was the discussion first, and he talked with the family, and then he and Jill had some more one-on-ones before it was decided. Yeah.
So there was talk that after Kamala lost, and people were upset about it,
right?
That they were saying, "Hey, how can we get back at Trump ultimately?" And it's like, "Hey, why don't we have Sleepy Joe basically come out of office and then bring up Kamala Harris as a sworn in president to replace him, even if it's just for a month or two?" but just so Kamala Harris could be president, could make history, and could just further spite Trump before he gets back into office. And there were some people that actually thought that that might be a good idea and an idea that could actually happen. Right?
It could happen.
Right?
Absolutely. And the other thing about that,
Yeah.
I don't remember what the actual time frame is. I just know that the amount of months that they would have had left would have been inside that time frame. Should she be elected later, she still is entitled to 2 full 8-year terms. 8 years totaling 2 4-year terms, because you have to complete X amount of months or weeks or days, something like that, for it to count as your first term as a replacement president. And if you don't achieve that, then you can run for election and then run for re-election after that.
Yep. So I see this as kind of a parallel to some degree, where one, I think to myself, okay, you're president of the United States. Like, where would you leave to outside of just serving your remainder of your term that people elected you for? Like, what would make the most sense to say, yep, this opportunity is just too good for me. I rather just give this up to JD Vance and just go ahead and do that opportunity, as opposed to just say, hey, listen, you shocked the world. You served 2 terms. You're going to be fine life after the presidency in 2028 for the rest of your life. You can do all the development projects you want, all the speeches, all the celebrity appearances. You could bring back The Apprentice if you want to, for Pete's sake. You can have that co-hosted with Arnold if you want to, right? Plenty of opportunities.
I don't think Arnold would, because Arnold actually endorsed and said he's voting for Kamala. I think, let's see.
But they would have a more fair and balanced look, right? You have Trump on one side, Arnold on the other.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So, Arnold on the left, Trump on the right, I just don't, I don't see it. Unless you're looking at it from a position that, do you look at Vance as similar to the Kamala here? If we get Vance an early start at this, then obviously he becomes the front runner, almost uncontested, for 2028, because you basically position him to at least start serving in that capacity. That would basically really kind of slide things over for him to be the front runner for 2028 for sure for the GOP. But outside of that, I really have a tough time seeing it. Like, why would you nearly lost your life trying to run for president. Like, I came back. Like, I'm going to serve. I'm going to finish what I started, and I'm going for all 4 years, and I'm going to have a damn good time doing it.
Okay. So I found up something. The longest presidency is Franklin D. Roosevelt, which we know because he was actually elected to a 4th term. And at that point, more than 2 terms was not law, but it was, sorry, I'm looking at some of the others. It was not law, but it was an unwritten rule set by George Washington that you would only run for re-election once, so as to eliminate the possibility of becoming some sort of autocrat or king. Franklin Roosevelt, being during the Depression, and this is what, maybe it was a good idea, maybe it wasn't. I'm not pushing either way. But his articulation was that it was at the end of the Depression and now into World War II. We're thriving. It's a position we should not change. So he ran for a 3rd term and actually a 4th term where he died in office. So he's the longest. And what I was actually looking up was if somebody actually did serve that grace period plus 2 more full terms. And I'm not seeing anybody yet. But he did 3 full terms and 2 months and 23 days into the 4th one before Roosevelt came in, or before Truman came in. Those who served next with 2,922 days, meaning 2 full terms.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, James Monroe, Andrew Jackson, Ulysses S. Grant, Grover Cleveland was the first one to do it non-consecutive. Woodrow Wilson, and again, he just was not reelected. There was nothing stopping him from serving a third term at that time. Woodrow Wilson did 2. David Eisenhower did 2. Reagan, Clinton, George W., and Barack Obama did 2. George Washington did 2 terms, but they were less than today's 2 full terms because the inauguration of his first term and the inauguration of his successor was not in January then. It was in March.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't inaugurated until April 30th of 1789. So while he served 2 full terms, he kind of got shorted a month. Harry S. Truman. Okay, so here's the closest one, and Teddy Roosevelt's another. Harry Truman, who succeeded Franklin D. Roosevelt, succeeded to 1 partial term, 3 years, 9 months, and 8 days. So that was considered a full term, even though it wasn't a full term of the, what did it say? It's 365 times 4 plus 1, because somewhere in those 4 years there's going to be a leap year, whatever that comes out to be. 1,461 days. And so he did that part. Teddy Roosevelt succeeded to 1 partial term after he followed one of the guys that was assassinated. I think it was McKinley. 3 years, 5 months, and 18 days. So 4 months shy of Truman, followed by 1 full term. Calvin Coolidge followed Wilson, I think. No, because Wilson finished. Calvin Coolidge finished somebody who died in office because he also did 1 partial term of 1 year and 7 months and 2 days, followed by the full term. Nixon, 2027, 1 full term, resigned 1 year, 6 months, and 20 days into the second term. Lyndon Johnson, 1 partial term after the Kennedy assassination and 1 full term. William McKinley, 1 full term, assassinated, died 6 months and 10 days into the second term, 8 days after being shot. Donald Trump, 1 full term, currently serving a non-consecutive second term. Abe Lincoln, 1 full term, died a month and 11 days into the second term, 1 day after being shot. And then John Quincy Adams, Martin Van Buren, James K. Polk, Franklin Pierce, James Buchanan, Rutherford B. Hayes. His nickname was Rutherford. Benjamin Harrison, William Howard Taft, Herbert Hoover. That's the one. No, he was after. Herbert Hoover, Jimmy Carter, George H.W. Bush, and Joe Biden all served 1 full term. John Adams was 1 full term. But it wasn't, he was 2 days shy of or actually 1 day shy of instead of 1,461, his inauguration turned out to be 1,460. John Tyler is the one who succeeded the guy who was really short. Hold on. William Henry Harrison, who died in like 3 months. Actually 1 month. So John Tyler did 3 years and 11 months of 1 term. Andrew Johnson succeeded to 1 partial term of 3 years, 10 months, and 17 days, was not reelected. Chester Arthur one partial term, 3 years. You get the idea. Point being, there was nobody that did more than 8 years because of that grace period.
Right.
Where you have to serve X amount before it actually counts as a term. I'm not seeing it. Doesn't say what that period is. About whatever. I think this is 25th Amendment. 22nd Amendment. Have been eligible for a second term. Have been eligible for election to a third term after serving more than 2 years of a term to which another person was elected. Been ineligible for election third term after serving more than 2 years of a term. Okay, so if you're less than 2 years, there it is, of your first term, or you're the replacement, that doesn't count.
Less than 2 years?
Yeah.
That's a lot longer than I was thinking. I was thinking like,
yeah, me too. Yeah. So ratification of the 22nd Amendment in 1951, presidents beginning with Dwight D. Eisenhower have been ineligible for election to a third term, or after serving more than 2 years of a term to which some other person was first elected to a second term. The amendment contained a grandfather clause that explicitly exempted the incumbent president, then Harry S. Truman, from the new term limitation. So Harry S. Truman could have won 3 terms as well. And then Grover Cleveland and Donald Trump were voted out of office after 1 term, but they later elected to a second non-consecutive term. Consequently, there have been 47 presidents in the nation's history. Only 45 have been sworn into office. Oh, yeah, only 45 people have been sworn into office. Yeah, there are actually only 45 presidents.
Right.
Because 2 served twice. So
Cleveland and Trump.
But I've said this before, it sounds, excuse me, it sounds rude, like burping into the microphone.
Probably is.
But you don't run for president for the money.
Clearly.
And as such, you're either a little crazy or a little full of yourself. Like you've got an ego to be the most powerful man or woman in the world. So when you get a person like Joe Biden, who's been in public service at the federal level for as long as I've been alive.
Me too.
I was born in 71, and I think he was elected in 73. Or took office in 73, elected in 72. Dude, take a vacation. Enjoy.
He does when he's on the beach.
Yeah. And if you see that picture, yeah, he looked bored. He looked like he wanted to get back to the Oval Office.
That's true.
To his skiff that they had in a skiff is a room where you can talk about classified information.
Oh.
It stands for Self-Contained Information Facility, I think. Something like that.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I don't like beaches. Yeah, I'd be there for about like 10, 15 minutes before I'm like, okay, sand, ocean. I don't want to get bitten by sharks. I can go home now.
Yeah. There was a ding, but that wasn't any of the alarms. What the hell was that?
I heard. I told you.
Did you hear that?
I did.
What the hell was that? We've got 35 seconds remaining in this segment before I have to take another break. But I have no idea. Was it maybe, did somebody message me on Facebook?
Or in the messages?
There's nothing. I only had that up because I had to get the metadata that I posted earlier to put in today's thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let me. I wonder if we got chat. Look at this, Ken. Where were you yesterday? We missed you. Please wait for your operator to pick up elevator music. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Um, I'm here just in meetings today. Gotcha. Lars also checking in from the European Union. I live near a beach too, and I love it. I love the water. I love where I've been walking around on my dad. You're actually on an island? No kidding. Which one? If you're cool saying, you don't have to give us your address, but you know, let us know. I know you're in. Oh damn it! I get this wrong every time. I want to say Belgium, but I think he's actually in the Netherlands. Lars checking in from the EU. Um, yeah, I love
Thank
it here. My dad caught me a couple times walking around looking a little starry eyed at the place that I live at, even though right now the house itself is a construction project.
you.
Uh, it's I love it here. All right, gang, I got to take a quick break. When we come back, what did I have planned for next? What's the next? Are you here for an hour today, or are you doing more? Or what are you up to?
Here for an hour. I think I'm
Okay.
gonna be on an hour for quite some time.
Okay. Yeah. What are you ready to tell us about? Whatever the other projects you're working on
Yeah,
yet?
yeah,
You
I
can
can
tell us
talk.
that.
Yeah, I can talk
Um,
about it.
when we come back, we'll hear more about that, and then get in the hour number 2. You're listening or watching up the middle. We'll be back right after this.
What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym, but not just any gym. Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is amazing. It's kept up well. It's expanded. There's stretching area. There's CrossFit. There's hardcore training. A dedicated area for stretching, dunk tanks, sauna, everything you need to get that Hernando beach body or keep your Clearwater beach body. You can train with your shirt off, you can scream, you can yell, and you won't be intimidated either. Go to Momentum Fitness and Wellness on US 19 in Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. Build the momentum.
Let's see what's next. Yergz on Cameo. There it is. QR code on your screen. Scan that. It'll take you to cameo.com/Yergz/book. And you can have me chew you out like I would if you're a moron on the phone. You can have me wish you a happy birthday. You can have pretty much say almost anything. I'm not going to say anything positive about Trump. That's Philip's job. But pretty much anything. You can ask me questions about the Secret Service. I'll gladly answer that if I can. Like if I may, like if it's not illegal for me to answer. And if it is, I'll certainly let you have another shot. Let me decide. Don't say to yourself, oh, he can't answer that question. I'm not going to ask it. Ask it. It's your money. Ask it. And if I can't, I'll give you another shot. As many as it takes to get something that I can actually answer. So scan the QR code on your screen or go to cameo.com/Yergz/book and get that forever loving trinket of my voice that you can keep forever. Why not, right? Do it. All right. Let's wrap up. Let's give Philip the floor. Tell us about his upcoming projects. Here she is. I had the back door open, and the one dog's lying right behind me in his bed, but I think this one might have swam away by now.
Mm-hmm.
Also, check out the QR code now on your screen. That's Philip's list of books that he's written, available through Amazon. Way too long of a URL to try to read out, but scan that code or visit my Facebook page, Ross Yergz, where I have a list of my affiliates. You've stopped the other one, right? The buyblackett.com. You stopped that for now?
Stopped it for now. Just suspended it. Just working on a bigger project for me that I think is really taking a lot of time, but in a good way.
Nice.
So I'll answer that with the sense of I have another book for you.
Okay.
It's not on Amazon with intention because I want to make it free.
Okay.
And basically I'll set it up where, the project itself, I basically call it Life After 40. Right?
Okay.
When I turned 40 last year on Thanksgiving, obviously 40 is like a milestone age for a lot of people. You do a lot of reflection in terms of, hey, is this like a midlife crisis for me? Is this like the end of the first half? Second half now begins.
Are you going to buy a lot of computer and studio equipment and think you're starting a new career?
No.
Like me?
No, not at all.
Okay. So this isn't a midlife crisis. This is a real career in your mind, what I'm doing, what we're doing?
It's a multi-year project where I said to myself, I said, listen, how do I make the second half of my life just as good, if not better than the first half?
Okay.
And realizing that, listen, a lot of people look at, aging as like it goes downhill after 40. Yeah. And I don't necessarily believe that, nor do I want to. So the question,
I don't believe it, but let me tell you, it's true.
So the question is, in that case, how do I do my part to help more, at least for now, more Americans? And I'm sure I can probably expand it globally, but hey, we got to walk before we run here.
Right.
Enjoy more of life after 40.
Great.
Simply. So I wrote a book to start dovetailing into this called Life After 40, Master the 4 Pillars of Lifelong Vitality, I think it is.
Okay.
The link to get that free book is lifeafter40book.com, the number 40.
Okay.
And basically what I'm sharing here is just talking about, hey, what are like the 4 things that people need to think about more as we get older, and to start asking ourselves the question, how do we do something proactively to give ourselves the best chance to not only live as long as we possibly can, but also keep the quality of life as good as we possibly can. So the 4 pillars, you start with M. So it's really easy to remember. It's dealing with metabolism, muscle mass, mobility, and mental health, right? And part of it for me was the thought of like, listen, in an age we're in now where life expectancy continues to increase because of technology and health advances and that sort, people definitely want to live as long as they can so they can have more experiences with people they love. More so from that standpoint of like, how can we help here? And so I thought of this more so, Ross, where it's just like, listen, I love politics. I have no problem talking about politics. At a certain point, I realized too, I don't need more enemies right now because of what I believe in. I want to do something that can help not just Republicans or conservatives. I want to do something that can help out Democrats, even that funny name you give for certain liberals that are a little too far off left. I won't say it in that sense, but that's what I'm talking about.
Yep, sure.
But something that's helpful for all people. Because obviously, we're all not going to be here forever. But while we're here, especially after the age of 40, where a lot of people think it's a midlife crisis, what can we do? What's available to us nowadays that probably wasn't available to our grandparents or previous generations before, that allows us to enjoy more of life after 40, like aging well, aging beautifully, not going downhill from here.
Very good. Cool. So you see that on the screen, Life After 40. You said the number, not the word.
Yep. So lifeafter40book.com.
Oh, book is in the URL too.
Yep.
Okay. I got to adjust that then. Life After 40 book. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to get the Life After 40 domain, but it's kind of pricey. So
Yeah, somebody else had it, or it's something worth getting.
mm-hmm.
All right. So hopefully you notice that there's a change in the QR code there.
Mm-hmm.
I knew a guy that could actually read that. He could
Mm-hmm.
actually look at that, all those little black cubes and lines and
Oh,
things. He can actually read that.
that's interesting because I keep looking at it like a fingerprint.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he was unique. He was, yeah. That'll take Lars another 18 years. Oh, dude, you're young enough to be my son.
Start planning now, then. Goodness.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's free. Yeah, so lifeafter40book.com. We're scanning the QR code on your screen. Let's see where we at. Oh, we're into the second one. Yeah. All right. Philip Blackett, 1L, 2 T's. At Philip Blackett is his socials. Follow him there. And follow us here, for God's sake.
Don't forget the Black Kid Hotels. Black Kid
Yes, right.
Your way.
Yep. Plan your vacation. Go to Black Kid Hotels. I see sneakers in your future. Black Kid sneakers.
Get them Black Kid sneakers off.
off my coffee table. My pet peeve is the dashboard. Mm-hmm. When I see right front seat passengers with their feet up on the dashboard, that makes me cringe. Check that thumbs up out of your face. All right, man. Thanks for joining us as always. I'll have to see if I can grill you a little harder next week.
I'm all for it, sir.
I thought I was going to get you with that Tesla in the
Tesla.
drive.
It's all right, Sensei. I'm learning.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm not trying to convert you. I'm just trying to get some explanations. Just good Lord, wow.
Hopefully Blake can help out here if he's listening.
Dude, good luck with that. Oh, he's actually not going to be with us the next 2 weeks. So if you're available on Fridays, feel free to check in if you want to.
Okay, I'll see what I can.
He's starting this weekend, ending next weekend, a cross country. I think he said it's going to be on like a camper. It's his kids' spring break from school.
Oh, I thought he was doing a literal homeless conservative speaking tour. Because he's homeless. I thought he's like traveling.
I thought. Did you see the post? I thought he just sent it to me.
I don't know if I saw it.
Yeah, I thought he sent it just to me in Facebook Messenger. Let me look here a minute.
The homeless conservative bus tour.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
That could work.
Yeah, no, he just sent it to me. He says I'm out for the next 2 Fridays doing an RV trip for spring break. Yeah, so I guess like that's when his kids and stuff are off.
Yeah.
So I'm presuming he's packing Friday, and they're going to probably leave when the kids get home from school. So he's going to miss that show. And then they're going to be gone for a week, coming back probably the following weekend. So that sounds like fun. I love RVs. I love mobile homes, like the big bus sons of bitches. I just hate driving. I would not want to be, and I'd love to, because I want to get a boat, and I don't mean like a boat as in like, center console, let's go fishing and get sunburn. I mean like a camper on wheels.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll probably hate boating long distance too. But I just hate, I crossed this country 4 times. And in every field office, I've had to take a major drive to a post-standing assignment. Right now, going beyond the grocery store or the gym is a trip. And so I'm like, yeah, as long as somebody else is willing to drive the mobile home, I'll buy it when I'm rich and they can drive. All right, man. Yeah, so if you're around, if you got nothing else going on, if you feel like it, stop in the next 2 Fridays. If not, I'll see you next week.
All right.
All right, everybody. Philip Blackett, check out his new book, Let me get the title up here so I don't screw it up this time. Where is it? There we go. Check out his new book, Life After 40. Go to lifeafter40book.com or scan the QR code on your screen and get it. You said it's free, right?
It's free.
Get it. I'd say get it. Nope. There's a phone call. Oh, we got a call coming in. Oh, we'd have to take a call. Let's see if this is a. I'll let if you got to get going. But we'll take a phone call here.
I'm curious.
Yeah, let's see it. Hi, you're on the air. Hello. Oh wait,
This
I think
is
I'm in.
not
There we go.
appearing on the 5
Hello?
major voice platform. Hello?
It's on. Oh, they don't want to talk. Well, I guess we'll see them next week too.
There we
I've
go.
been getting a lot of business. I've let a lot of business calls, and there's no way to separate it. It's still going to come to me because I'm the one that signed in. So
You got to
Yeah.
get a screener.
yeah, I need a producer in the worst way.
Producer.
Yep, exactly. All right, man. If I don't see you Friday, I'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right, Philip Blackett, everybody, our resident Trump translator. For our second hour, we got some more of the news and other things that we were going to talk about, or still the same things that we're talking about, such as a trade war and the fact that we're in World War III and the fact that we're still in a civil war of sorts. It may not be the blue and the gray or the North and the South, but it certainly has been us versus them in various circles. My grandpa has a friend that's 109 and still lives and does everything by herself. Wow. That's pretty good. Jesus. Where's she at? Yeah, I mean, again, without giving out an address, just give us a country so we can live more like that. All right, so when I got to take another break, this is just going to be like a little bit of music so I can refill the coffee and get ready for hour number 2 and hour number 3. After my show today, I'm going to get SPORTCAT'S started on SPORTCAT'S Daily Gazette. Oh, here's the island. I missed this. I don't even know how to pronounce that. But that's the island that's the island that Lars lives on. That's going to be so cool. Because I know it's like Netherlands and it's up in like the North Sea and it's I don't know what that means. Dropped in above. But anyway, we come back. We'll talk about some of the other trade wars and other wars going on. You're listening to Up the Middle or watching Up the Middle on the Mastiff.Media Network. We'll be back right after this. realized after it didn't show up that it doesn't appear when you're playing a video, which is technically what we were just looking at with the music. Anyway, I gotta stop something here. Give me a second. There we go. Okay. So, hour number 2. And trade wars and world wars and all kinds of things that some people, Blake, don't want to admit we're in. And this isn't that hard. This is what's happening right now. We've got the European Union now kicking in. Well, somebody thought better of it. I'm getting all these, and I think they're mostly business calls. I think what I'm going to do, if somebody else calls, if you'd like to call, let me say this first. 1-888-88 Yergz, 844 gay LGBT. That's the phone that you keep hearing in the background because that's on my mobile. I thought that was all down though. I have to have my mobile running during the show because that's how we access Chatter, one of the other platforms that we're on. And if you'd like an invite to Chatter, it's a very cool social media, social audio, social video app. Like a bunch of rooms and talk to other people about like topics. And you can debate certain things as well. It doesn't have to be all like-minded. But to be on the desktop version that I use to broadcast the show, you have to first sign in through your phone. So I have to be on twice, which means I got to have the phone here. But I thought I usually turn that down so that you don't hear a loop. But it's not looping today, so good enough. Trade wars, civil wars, world wars. I say all 3 are happening right now. And the media is going with the trade war. That's obvious. And I think a little bit more obvious. But when you read my white paper, and I got to get working on it more aggressively because too much that I'm predicting has already come to fruition. And by the time I get this out, you're not going to think that I've made any predictions. You're going to think that I just commented on, what's already happened. But look at what he's done to the court system. Look at what he's done to the Department of Justice. And of course, I'm talking about T-Rum. Look at what he's done to the legislature. This is exactly what, and I got to find the spelling first because I can never, Erdogan of Turkey. That is exactly what he did to become the autocrat that he is in the nation of Turkey. And that's what Trump's doing. He now controls the legislature. He controls the upper courts. And it's not control, but it's heavy influence. Go back to that moment, that Tuesday night of last week, when he was leaving the chamber of the House. And a hot mic caught him saying, "Thank you very much," to Chief Justice Roberts. Thank you for what? What are we thanking? Oh, I don't want to block him. What am I doing there? Sorry, Lars. This Lars says the trade war is so funny to me. Yeah, because so much of it, when it started with Mexico and Canada, he delayed these tariffs that are going to be so great and bring in so much money. As I said before, tariffs are his favorite word. So he says, well, okay, let's put them on already. Why are we delaying them twice? Why are you delaying them to Mexico and Canada agreeing to do things they've already agreed to do, and in fact, they've already done? How out of touch are you? And speaking of out of touch, that's what I said about the blow up in the Oval Office, which, by the way, was a hit. If you can't tell that was planned, I should have asked that of Philip. But if you can't tell that was planned, wow. But all Zelensky wanted to hear was a verbal commitment from Trump to what was already in the agreement. But he wouldn't do it. Did he not agree to the agreement? Or more than likely, that probably is the case though, or more than likely, also, we'll say that also, he didn't know it was there. That's probably the heavier one, although when he says things like Russia has been the easiest to deal with and Ukraine has been so hard, like, really, what? Ukraine hasn't gone against any agreements. Ukraine didn't illegally invade any country. Ukraine isn't talking to you with intentions of influencing an election, although they were your intentions. I think we've learned that already. But yeah, so trade wars. Now, who was it? Jack Daniels, the owner, the company, the parent company of Jack Daniels, has laid off more than 650 employees worldwide. Out of, I think they've got 5,000 that are a part of the Jack Daniels brand. 650 worldwide. And the kicker is Canada. When I first saw this, it didn't make sense because I thought, how are they going to let the product go into the country without first paying these tariffs? And apparently, this is a thing. American liquor, when it's exported to Canada and imported by Canada, the tariffs are not paid until the liquor is sold. So there it sits on a Canadian shelf in a Canadian liquor store, essentially as American property. And so nothing has been paid to the U.S. government or to, and I got to look this up again because Jack Daniels, parent company. It's a hyphenated word. Let me get this. Brown-Forman, parent company of Jack Daniels, Jim Beam. No, just Jack Daniels. Their global wine and spirits company, many brands including Jack Daniels, Woodford Reserve, and Chambord. Old Forester bourbon whiskey, Early Times whiskey, Canadian Mist. Oh, look at that. Glen, a famous Scotch whiskey, and Ben Riach, a Scotch whiskey. Those are the tequilas. Those are the whiskeys. The tequilas are Herradura, Jimador, Finlandia vodka, Chambord liquor, Fetzer Vineyards Wine, and Gin Mary Gin. So they lost 650 employees. And with Jack Daniels, among other American brands, on like I think Woodford Reserve, Old Forester, those are bourbons. I don't know about Early Times, Canadian Mist, obviously. Hello. Glen Morangi is Scotch. Ben Riach is Scotch. They're sitting on a Canadian shelf. And like I said, they're American property. They haven't been sold yet. So the Canadian liquor stores, under the direction of the Canadian government, took them off the shelves, sent them back. I would have kept them. So not only can they not be sold in Canada, but they're not going to be resold back in the United States. But they sent them back, and I guess that's also a blow because they've got to pay truck drivers to get it there. But not only is it not being supported in Canada, it's not being paid in tariffs or purchase in Canada. So it's really a double whammy. I saw one Trump-loving Facebooker, some ignorant lady today, say that she's removed everything from her house that was made in Canada. And then she says, just kidding. I don't have anything in my house made in Canada. I don't know about that. There's trashy white trash Bud Light beer cans. That aluminum, those cans were made in Canada. That house you're building and a lot of that lumber, Canada. If you're in the states of New York, Michigan, and I was right about the others, it's just very minimal, but New York, Michigan, and Minnesota, a large percentage of your electric comes from Canada. And then along the top border of North Dakota, Montana, Idaho, Washington State, all have minimal amounts of electric that are Canadian supplied. From down below, many fruits and vegetables, including one of my favorites, avocado, come from Mexico. Other products that come from the European Union, many of those products bought by the European Union are now being denied, just like the American liquor. Anybody see how the Americans are benefiting from this at all? How are we getting so rich from these tariffs when we're the ones that pay the tariffs? And I've talked to a bunch of people who have said Trump actually does know this. And I think I like picking on Blake, but I think he was actually one of them. Trump does actually know this. And that is that it is going to drive up prices and down values. Tesla lost 33% since Knucklehead took office? Buy Tesla. Because when Trump does leave early and felon Musk goes with him, maybe Tesla will rebound. Sell and get out. Pump and dump. Sounds like a plan to me. So, tariff. Let me know also in the chat if your country or state, if you're nationwide here, or global, is affected by anything with the trade with the U.S. I know Lars thinks it's pretty much just funny. Yeah, I mean, to an extent, yeah. But here's with the trade war and with what DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, is doing blindly, ignorantly, the ripple effect, the collateral damage that these knuckleheads are causing is a lot. And what you're going to see, what we are seeing, what I've known was going to happen all along, is that some of these people negatively affected are people that voted for him. Like a 5-to-1 ratio of those 650, what's the name? Brown Foreman employees. 5-to-1. That's dominating. It's Tennessee. So, I mean, there's that. But that's dominating. Now they're out of a job. There's that. You're listening or watching Up the Middle on the Mastiff.Media Network. We'll be back right after this.
What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym, but not just any gym. Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym, but not just any gym. Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is amazing. It's kept up well. It's expanded. There's stretching area. There's CrossFit. There's hardcore training. A dedicated area for stretching, dunk tanks, sauna, everything you need to get that Hernando beach body or keep your Clearwater beach body. You can train with your shirt off, you can scream, you can yell, and you won't be intimidated either. Go to Momentum Fitness and Wellness on US 19 in Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. Build the momentum.
Sea Ranch Civic Association. You're in Western Pasco, Southern Hernando, Northern Pinellas, or anywhere the Tampa Bay or Nature Coast. Join up to the Sea Ranch Civic Association. Go to mysrca.com or call 727-619-4636. It's a local social organization that I support. They just had their second farmers market this past weekend. Much more successful than the first and growing. Definitely a more, I don't want to say progressive because it's going to sound political, but active social network, social group, social activities, social associations. Oh, wow. Did you hear that? The music just changed. It was pretty cool. Tone it down a little bit so you can hear me. Go to mysrca.com. Sign up today. It's actually $40 for a year. And understandably, they're trying to recoup from Helene and Milton of last year's hurricane season. Check them out. Come visit. Get together. You can rent the facilities if you need a party space, or join any of the groups or activities that they have on site. mysrca.com, Sea Ranch Civic Association. All right. In part of the last hour, we talked about the trade war, And of course, we rambled on it just now. But why did that not? I thought I was searching for a trade war. There we go. Oh, and why not? Here we go. According to Fox Business, Canada announces a $21 billion. No, wait, how is that? Canada announces $21 billion in new U.S. tariffs. Okay, I guess that's their tariffs they're imposing on us. Which, I mean, it's what their people are going to pay, which I guess they don't want any of our products right now anyway. I guess it kind of makes a little bit more sense. Trump's metals tariff draws swift retaliation from Canada and the European Union. I told you that already. Aluminum was one of them. And NBC also talking about the trade war with Canada escalating. Starmer, the British Prime Minister, all options are on the table. I think that means as far as levying retaliations that I guess we're literally asking for. I mean, come on, guys. What's he want? You're a Canadian. Kevin O'Leary, I got to play this. I can't wait to see what this guy has to say. How is he going to make it?
Today, President Trump's 25% tariff on imported steel and aluminum is. He did, however, reverse course on a 50% tariff on Canada. Listen to what he had to say about his discussions with our neighbor to the north. Roll it.
I will say this, that Canada, and I respect very much. As you know, there's a very strong man in Canada who said he was going to charge a surcharge or a tariff on electricity coming into our country. He has called and he said he's not going to do that. Okay, he's not going to do that. We've been treated very unfairly by Canada.
We've been treated very unfairly by Canada. What? Them booing the entire national anthem just because of you? Maybe that's it. Other than that, I'm having a tough time with that.
We've been treated very unfairly by Mexico.
Mexico. How? Okay. I mean, how do you even come back to that without just laughing at him? Mexico is treating us unfairly. When? Those poor avocados that we're not going to have in our salad.
We've been treated very unfairly by every country all over the world. The European Union is.
Do you see what's happening here? Besides me constantly pausing the video. He is constantly doing nothing but claiming to be the victim. We're being treated very unfairly by all these different countries. And we became and still are the strongest economy in the world. How? We're so unfair. He doesn't have an answer for that.
It's horrible, horrible. And
okay, did you see what he did right there? By saying horrible twice, he's reinforcing it. What happens is his sheep believe that. That's what his followers are. They're not thinking for themselves. They're not thinking remotely critically. If they did any type of research, they would know that prior to this guy coming in, we had the strongest economy in the world. Nobody could touch us. And by the way, Donald, that is a horrible makeup job.
We're going to get it back. We owe $36 trillion, and we're going to get it back. We're the biggest, we're the best, and I'm very optimistic.
All right, look who's here with me now, Mr. Wonderful himself, Kevin O'Leary. Kevin, Trump appears to have won yesterday's battle. The Ontario Premier backed off those electricity export tariffs. But the markets, they remain, not today, but over the past couple of weeks, they're rattled by the uncertainty of this tariff battle. Are you rattled by it?
No, I'm not. You got to remember that Canada's a unique situation. Trudeau is gone as of midnight on Sunday. So you've got the premier of each province. The one we were just talking about there was Doug Ford from Ontario that threatened the electricity banning. Right now, Howard Ludwig was a question. I'm looking forward to hearing from Howard. Is this a rebalancing of all tariffs? April 2nd, we're supposed to get a reciprocal tariffs. Because if it's no, I just want war, I'm saying, look, we're going to balance this thing first. If there's tariffs on coming out of Vermont into Canada, 204%, we're going to do the same. We're going to get rid of these tariffs one day and join these economies, not sell the country, but the potential of taking Canadian resources and combining with the largest market in the world.
This is why this guy is so irrelevant. I just almost broke a nail digging at my tooth, and I jerked listening to this idiot. What he's talking about is essentially NAFTA, which is part of what drove so much business out of the United States in the first place. Clinton also thought it was going to be a good idea until he realized it wasn't. And now he's saying this free trade, that's exactly what we had, and is in part why we're in the sandwich that we're in. Kevin, stick with Shark Tank. It's what you can afford.
World is so huge. I think that's where he wants to go.
So can we get to real free trade?
Yes. With Canada, it would be huge because it would beat China by 40% in terms of the size of the economy.
Okay, Kevin, stay there, please. You want to stay with me for the hour?
No, get lost. The guy's such a nothing. So the Trump metals tariffs, and in addition to, I can't subscribe to Reuters now. How do I get rid of that? Well, Trump's increased tariffs on all U.S. steel and aluminum imports took effect today. Yeah, that's today. Ratcheting up a global trade war and drawing swift retaliation from Canada and Europe. Trump's actions to bulk up protections for American steel and aluminum products restores effective tariffs of 25% on all imports of the metals and extends the duties to hundreds of downstream products, from nuts and bolts to bulldozer blades and soda cans. U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said nothing could stop the tariffs and Trump would impose trade protections on copper as well. Canada, the biggest foreign supplier of steel and aluminum to the United States, announced 25% retaliatory tariffs on those metals along with computers. Oh, there we go, because why not screw up the electronics industry yet too? Sports equipment and other products worth 29.8 billion Canadian dollars in total. Canada's central bank also cut interest rates to prepare the country's economy for the damage. Oh, look, one side talking to the other. Well done, Canada. Trump's hyper-focus on tariffs since taking office in January has rattled investor, consumer, and business confidence in ways that economists worry could cause a U.S. recession and slow global economy. That's according to Reuters. The first video was from Fox Business. I don't know. Let's see what this one has to say.
Donald Trump's tariffs on imports of metals took effect Wednesday. They imposed 25% duties on shipments of steel and aluminum, with no countries excepted. The tariffs also hit hundreds of products made from the metals, from nuts and bolts to bulldozer blades and soda cans. Within hours, the EU fired back with $28 billion in reciprocal duties. Those tariffs will kick in from the start of next month. Canada is also mulling how to respond to the latest moves. Speaking Tuesday in Houston, Texas, Energy Minister Jonathan Wilkinson said Canada could limit sales of oil to the US.
But when we're talking about sort of non-tariff retaliation, it could be about restricting supply. It could be putting our own export duties on products. It could be energy and minerals. It could be broader than that.
Canada is the largest supplier of imported oil to the US, shipping some 4 million barrels per day. Wilkinson says a levy on US ethanol is another option being considered. In Australia, the government was disappointed not to win an exemption from the new tariffs, something Trump said last month he would seriously consider. However, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said it would be counterproductive for Australia to respond with tariffs of its own.
Tariffs and escalating trade tensions are a form of economic self-harm and a recipe for slower growth and higher inflation. They are paid by the consumers. This is why Australia will not be imposing reciprocal tariffs on the United States.
Other countries facing a significant hit from the Trump tariffs include Brazil, Mexico, and South Korea. However, the new charges have been welcomed by a US Steel Industry Association, which said the measures would supercharge domestic production. Investors are less sure, with US stocks shedding more than $4 trillion in value over recent weeks amid concerns about the trade war.
Well, Donnie, there's your cut of the deficit, or part of it. $4 trillion in a couple of months in value. So when he wins that back, if that's what happens, what is he really winning? You can't count jobs won by the Biden administration that were lost during the Trump failure to deal with COVID, and then count this as growth when he lost it in the first place. It's the same thing. Yeah, Ken's right. He's blaming Mr. Orange, blaming everyone but himself. And I'm I think one of the reasons why Australia might be doing it is because they don't have as much in the game. Like we're the number one, or Canada's the number one exporter of oil to the United States. I don't know that Australia really has something like that. That's a significant number. And they have the intelligence to realize that any tariff put on would be affecting their own people. So don't make Australian prices go up because of this asshat. Keep theirs down. If they've got nothing else to put on the table, yeah, I think it's a good move. And just wait it out, because they're going to have plenty of other people to trade with that are also pissed at the United States that'll be happy to help out with Australia. Yeah, I've noticed that too. Ken says looking at his face expressions and wordplay showcases when he's lying. Absolutely. As a poker player, as somebody that's investigated and interviewed assassins, counterfeiters, spies. I did a commercial for this for my show when this first started. Assassins, counterfeiters, spies, and terrorists And you learn to pick up on tells. And you learn to tell when people are. No, I'm realizing I didn't put my phone on vibrate. You learn to tell when people are lying. And when he does that thing where he stretches out his lower lip and shows his lower teeth, or when he says something more than once, that's usually when something's BS. Ken also says Trump is a book of fail that just don't understand from his own mistakes. Yeah, he doesn't learn. And I know he thinks he's going to be doing something solid and good, but that's not what's going to happen. He thinks he knows. Economists actually know. And yeah, coming over to the UK, Prime Minister Starmer of the UK said they'll keep all options on the table as U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs on imports of steel and aluminum take effect. The UK exports hundreds of millions of pounds worth of steel to the U.S. each year, which will be subject to the 25% levy. The European Union, facing the same tariffs, said on Wednesday it would impose counter tariffs on 26 billion euros, approximately 22 billion pounds of U.S. goods. Pounds as in the British money, not the weight of U.S. goods. And Canada also responded with countermeasures. We talked about that. Sir Keir, that's Sir, S-I-R, Keir, K-E-I-R, his first name, Starmer. Sir Keir, or Prime Minister Starmer, said the UK was taking a pragmatic approach and was pushing for a trade deal. But opposition politicians called for a more robust response. I see what they're saying. I see what he's trying to do. Sir Keir, he's trying to play it cool and not get all rattled, which is what Trump would like. Because I guess the risk is that if he plays it cool like this, he's going to have less to pull back on. So if he throws some more so-called threats on the table, he can pull them off if he never really thought about implementing them in the first place. I think that's what his opposition wants to do. Some of the more conservative. I think Starmer is more progressive. Asked at the time if the Prime Minister had convinced him to impose trade tariffs on the UK, Trump said he tried, adding, he was working hard, I'll tell you that. He earned whatever the hell they pay him over there. Whatever. It is understood tariffs were also discussed during a phone call between Sir Keir and Trump on Monday. However, if the latest tariffs come into effect, there were no exemptions for any country. European Union President Ursula von der Leyen said the European Union's retaliatory tariffs were strong but proportionate and that the EU remains open to negotiations. The EU tariffs will be imposed on products ranging from boats to bourbon to motorbikes. They will be partially introduced on the 1st of April and fully placed on the 13th. Canada will impose $29.8 billion in Canadian dollars, 16 billion in British pounds of retaliatory tariffs on U.S. exports from Thursday. Canada's Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc has said, alongside steel and aluminum, the levies will apply to computers, sports equipment, hockey skates, cast iron products. As far as British metals go, tariffs could lead to U.S. companies buying less from overseas. A knock-on effect could be more cheap steel flooding other markets, including the UK, as trade is redirected, putting additional pressure on domestic producers. Gareth Stace, Director General at industry body UK Steel, said the U.S. move was hugely disappointing. Yeah, I mean, all we're doing is pissing in the Cheerios of our actual allies. Why? You don't. The past 45 minutes that we've been talking about tariffs, how many times have I said China? How many times have we talked about Russian gas? Zero. Nothing. One last break. When we come back, I'll tell you where everybody's at and what's coming up later this week, as well as what's coming up in the next hour when I get started with SPORTCAT'S Daily Gazette. This is Up the Middle. This is also via the Mastiff.Media network. We'll be back right after this.
What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym, but not just any gym. Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is amazing. It's kept up well. It's expanded. There's stretching area. There's CrossFit. There's hardcore training. A dedicated area for stretching, dunk tanks, sauna, everything you need to get that Hernando beach body or keep your Clearwater beach body. You can train with your shirt off, you can scream, you can yell, and you won't be intimidated either. Go to Momentum Fitness and Wellness on US 19 in Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. Build the momentum.
If you're hearing like a grinding sound in the background, I think that's my dad working on the floating dock. One of the projects we did, we secured that better. And he's drilling away. Where there's a bridge that connects to our seawall, and that connects the dock to the seawall. But by itself, it's very brittle. And so we have these arms that go out on an angle that stabilize it. And it's going to be fine now, but he's just kind of topping it off a little bit. Chase Bank. Sign up for a Chase Bank checking account and if you're eligible, get $300 back when you open that checking. Go to, let's see if I can read this all, accounts.chase.com/consumer/RAF. No, that's way too, forget it. There's more to it than that. Just go to my affiliates page on my Facebook page. Ross Yergz. This whole list that I talk about today, to include Frontier Internet. You get a $150 gift card when you open an account with Frontier. We talked about me on Cameo and the Sea Ranch Civic Association. You've heard plenty of commercials from Momentum Fitness and Wellness. DNR Studios, I haven't heard back from. So I might stop plugging them. They don't even get back to me. I'm supposed to be starting with them this month. And they haven't even said anything. So I don't know. I checked my app. I still have access to the app, which I got for free for being one of the contributors. So I don't know. But Chase Bank, I'm happy with them. There's some issues. It's not Chase Bank LA. I can tell you that much. They have a concierge guy that when you walk into a branch in LA, who's just standing there in the doorway, and he gets to know all the members. You're not a customer, you're a member. Like it's a club. And this was my time in the LA field office. They had a branch in our building, which was multi-building set of skyscrapers. At LA headquarters for Ernst & Young, big accounting firm. Other big agencies and companies were there. And this guy, within just a couple of visits, and I wasn't there frequently, within a couple of visits to that lobby branch, he knew my name and knew not to call me by my title of special agent, because somebody who shouldn't hear that might hear that. Not exactly the same thing in rural Florida, but ultimately their banking definitely worth checking out. You do that, you get $300 when you open a Chase checking. Do so online or schedule an appointment at a branch near you. Frontier Internet, get a $150 gift card when you sign up for Frontier. And then Yergz just did this too. Yeah, well, now let's take a phone call. Hi, you're on the air.
Who is this? I have a missed call from this number. You call 267-595-9842. Hello.
Maybe some music.
Hello.
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 Well, guess I don't want to talk after all. All right, so that's the list of affiliates. What? Hello? Hello?
Hi, who is this?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, now I can.
Okay, and who is this?
This is Yergz. You're on the air. What can I help you with?
On the air with who?
My radio show?
Which radio show? I listen to 93.3, 94.5, Q102, 104.5.
You're in Philadelphia?
I'm about 30 minutes northeast of Philly in Hatboro, PA.
Okay, I know that's where I'm from. That's why I think if you're using the direct line, that's why the 267. But the toll-free number is for my radio station, and I'm about to wrap up a show. And I just figured out why I wasn't hearing you earlier, so I fixed that. But yeah, 93.3 is one of the stations I used to listen to. In fact, we do a thing here called Pierre's Pot, which is where I raise a glass of the morning sauce or a cup of the morning sauce to somebody that I'm giving a shout out to, like Pierre Robert used to do, or maybe still does. Does he still do that?
I listen to him like sometimes. The more I listen to President Steve more, because that's what I'm in the car more.
Right. All right. Well, what can I help you with?
Actually, like I'm calling you back. I got a missed call from this number about like 10 minutes ago. I was just leaving the mall, and I didn't get a chance to answer my phone because I was checking out.
I don't know why that would have happened, but yeah, I don't know that number.
Huh. That's funny.
Maybe somebody spoofed mine, because I've been getting that a lot too. A lot of the reason why I thought I was going to take this, because I saw the 267 number, and a lot of marketing callers do that. They take your number, your area code, and they create some bogus phone number from your area code, so it looks like somebody that you might know, but you don't have them in your contacts. And so
exactly. Yeah, and I've had this number for close to like 18 years now. So
I got you beat.
Yep.
25.
Yeah.
Well, for my mobile number, 25. That's not on.
Yeah.
That's not on this, but yeah. Well, no, sorry to trouble you.
That's
okay.
You're
listening to Philly radio, and check this out at Yergz, YERGZ.com and YergzRadio.com.
Okay.
And give us a listen.
I will.
All right. Thanks for calling.
All right. Thanks.
See, that's not so bad. I'm nice. And I figured out why I wasn't hearing whoever that was. I didn't get her name. Let's go back to the comments and we'll wrap up and get into SportCat'S news. Yes. Thanks for Ken checking in and letting everybody know to like, subscribe, and share. Tell a friend like I just did. I don't know what her name was, but we'll have to create a super fan and give her a call back. Okay. So how much of that could you actually hear then? Could you hear her talk about the Philadelphia stations that she heard? There's a button that I have to push. It was apparently going out to the broadcast, but it wasn't going to my headphones. And so I wasn't hearing her talking, but you guys might have been. Let me know if you could hear what you think was the whole conversation the second time she called. Meanwhile, I am going to just go right to SportCat's episode from yesterday. I've got that downloaded. I've got it queued up and ready to go. Check out the Sea Ranch Civic Association here in Pasco, Florida. Go to mysrca.com and sign up today. $40 for a year. You will not regret it. The Capital Switchboard is 202-224-3121. Call your senators. Call your congressmen. Tell them how stupid this trade war is and how stupid and useless and inefficient Doge is, and tell them to grow a set. I'm not going to plug DNR Studios if they're not going to email me back. I mean, for God's sake, just send me an email. Jane Stahl joins me every Monday. You can reach her at Studio BBB, 3Bs, studiobbb.org. That's the art gallery in our hometown that she manages. She's also the assistant editor or the co-editor of the Boyertown Area Expression. That's our hometown digital newspaper. Check that out at Boyertown Area Expression.town.news and see what's going on in my little hometown. Philip Blackett, who joined us earlier. You can find all the socials at Philip with one L, Blackett with two T's, at Philip Blackkid. Philip Blackett is the correct one. No jokes aside. Matt Deemer will be with us tomorrow. Friday. He's the host of Daily Crypto News. You can listen to more of that at dailycryptonews.net and reach him at info@Deemer4Congress or Matt at dailycryptonews.net. Blake is going to be out for the next 2 weeks, but he still has The Homeless Conservative. Check that out at thehomelessconservative.com. You can reach him, Blake, at thehomelessconservative.com. And you can get us all by writing news, NEWZ, at Yergz, YERGZ.com. And for show notes and other info, go to yergz.com or Mastiff.Media. Up next is, actually right now, is SportCat'S Daily Gazette. Go to YouTube. The easiest way to find it is at YouTube. Although I don't know that I'll have access to that today. It's on yergz.com. Usually when he's doing it, it'll be on YouTube at Para or Normal Guys. Para, P-A-R-A, or O-R, Normal Guys with a Z. But I won't be on that today because he's not the one broadcasting it. I don't have access to his YouTube account. We got to do that. We got to give each other admin. Check out the chat one more time. Ken says, we can hear saying it was a missed call. Oh, that was before. And then she gave out her entire number out on the air. Well, maybe now she can get a date. I don't know. Give her a call, Ken. All right. Yep, that's it. SportCat'S Daily Gazette is up next. I'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for getting off the porch and going up the middle. SportCat'S up next. Yeah, just SportCat'S up next on Yergz Radio and Radio X. everything else on the Mastiff.Media network will be done for the day. Yergz Radio, of course, is on automation, and SportCat's going to be there, but everything else goes silent. I'll see you tomorrow.